Well, hello everybody. It's me, Paddy from across the shop again with another knife review. This is Rake or Rike. I'm going to call it Rike knives because that's just the way I can pronounce it. It's a Rike knife. This was part of a two knife that was generously given to me by Tony Meador in California, just to help the channel along. He done it out of the kindness of his heart, and I really, I keep saying it, but I do. Saying thank you isn't enough. I really do appreciate it. He sent me two beautiful knives. This is the second one of it that I'm going to do a review. So this one is the Ruike p105-q, and it's called the Fang. And it's a bit of a rough name for a knife that is by no means rough, but this is the way it comes in a beautiful box. And now I'm only going to mention the price of this once because I know it from another video I'd seen and I'd commented on before I got this knife, so I know what price it is. But I'm not going to mention it until the very end because it's not very nice when somebody gives you a gift to mention the price. But I think as part of this knife's review, I have to be honest and tell you the price of it. I know you can go and get it somewhere else, but this is my review, and when I look back on it in years to come, hopefully I'll be able to see it. So it comes in this lovely box. It comes in an outer box as well, to be honest with you, but I just thought that would be too much. That's a lovely solid box, and the knife's presented beautifully in the box. Little handles here to take it out, and you can see the box itself is lovely. So this is the knife, and first of all, when I opened the box and I seen what knife it was, I got stupidly excited for a grown-up, because it was only a couple of weeks before I'd seen somebody who, it was JT's Knife Life, who had shown this knife, and I'd gone on to his channel and told him how much I loved it, thought it was a great knife. Excuse me. So to see it in front of me, and this was now mine, was just a bonus beyond anything else. I think it's the most beautiful looking knife that I have in my collection. Just stunning looking knife. It's a spear point, which if you had have told me I was going to have a spear point knife, it's not something I would have chosen. If I'd have seen this in the catalogue, I probably wouldn't have went for it. It was only when I seen a review of it, which is the great thing about reviews, because you see all round knife. But it's a spear point or a drop. I suppose you could call it a drop point if you wanted to, but I think it just looks like a perfect spear point, although the handle is a little bit curved, not that much. So call it what you like. It is beautiful, and I'm gonna run through all the specs of the knife. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll get into what I think of the knife. So the specs for this knife: it runs in bearings, and the steel is 14C28N, which is a Swedish steel, which is a step up from the basic models of the Swedish steel. The blade length is about 3.5 inches, which is 9 centimeters. The thickness is 0.13 inches or 3.2 millimeters on the thickness of the blade, and the length overall is 8.5 inches, which is 21.5 centimeters. Now, the weight in this knife is 146 grams or 5.1 ounces. Couldn't think of that word there again, that's me. So it's not a light knife, but let me tell you, the weight of this knife will not even come into your consideration once you get it in hand. 5 ounces isn't heavy anyway, for goodness sake. You know, I've eaten a bigger burger, so where did that come from? Don't know. Now, as I say, the blade's a spear point, drop point, whatever you want to do. The flipper then forms the guard, and it's a substantial guard. You wouldn't slip up on that guard. The handle is made of G10, heavily sculpted, but we'll get on to that later, with a G10 back spacer. And the handle length is 4 3/4 inches, 12.2 centimeters. And the thickness, which again, that's a wee bit that you might feel, it's 0.6 inches thick. So, you know, it's a good, thick, sturdy work knife. And to be honest with you, to me, that's what, although it is beautiful, this is a work knife because all this week I've used it and I've been using it for work, and it just performs admirably. So now we'll get on to what I love of it. I love about the knife, and then we'll get on to the end and maybe things that are not so cute about it. There's not many of them, let me tell you now. Right, I love the shape of the knife. It really is a lovely knife. It's bigger than I would choose for a knife. Again, if I was going through a book and just looking at it, I wouldn't choose it just for the length of it. You know, it's over 8. I don't like to go much over 8 inches, in hole, and this is pretty well over it. But once you get this in your hand, it is the most comfortable. It has jimping on the thumb ramp here, which is purposeful jimping. It's not there for decorative. It's there to hold your thumb, and by golly, it holds your thumb. The other thing about this is there's a little bit here now. I haven't got fat fingers. I've got not just quite normal fingers. I can get right up on that without it being dangerous. And I have done some cutting right at the end of the blade just to see what it was like, just to see, to get a feel for it. And I can get away with it, but I wouldn't recommend it. You don't need to. The only thing I think there is you're a wee bit far from the end of the blade, and I like to get up, and I can get up and keep my finger there without causing myself any damage whatsoever. Now there's a nice sharpening groove there which is done properly. I can get right up to the edge when I'm sharpening. I haven't sharpened this since I've had it, but I've stropped it. And I've had to strop it a few times because although it's a lovely blade steel, when you're cutting cardboard and the things with it, it does dull it. Yeah, it's I'm not going to say it's about, I can't really notice the difference. There's one down from this, which is 12.26 or something. There's not that much difference between the two of them. And when you're cutting cardboard, they do tend to go dull quicker than a better steel, obviously. But they do, and it's as simple as that. So I've stropped it quite a lot. The stropping brings it back instantly, nearly a couple of strops and away you go again. So that's the good side of it, if you like. The handle is G10 and it's just stunning. It is so lovely sculpted. Now I'm going to try and show you. All these indentations are all sculpted. They're little deep grooves that are in it. But when it goes in your hand, it just seems to be the right place to hold your fingers. This one here gets the top of my finger. There's so much room on it, and it's a fat knife, so it fills my hand. So it's just the most sculpted. Now this could be the bone of contention to most people, but not to me, to be honest with you. So it is. I love the fatness of the knife. The back spacer comes about halfway, well, more than halfway up, but it's G10. It's actually so well put together. I couldn't find any flaws with the handle, none of the joining up parts. The lockup on it is such a thick lockup. It's fully on. It's a thick liner, but everything just is so well put together. I literally couldn't find any wee sharp edges. Now, the sharp edges going round, where they've chamfered round, they are sharp edges. Now, not cut you sharp, but they're properly defined as an edge. But because of the shape of the knife and the shape of this G10, the cut ends, you don't feel it at all. There's no hot spots. I don't feel the clip at all when it's in my hand, and I can squeeze as hard as I like. But, if you hold it loosely, you think, oh gosh, that's going to be, but then you grip tight and it makes sense. The whole handle makes sense. Whoever developed this, it's nearly Spyderco comfortable. So, the deep carry pocket, let's get round to the deep carry pocket. And it is a deep carry pocket. It's small, but it's purposeful. If you'll see, this comes down to a point, it's very firm. When that goes in the pocket, that's not going to jump out, let me tell you. I wear jeans most of the time, but that is not going to jump out anywhere. I absolutely love the look of it. Now, I wouldn't have noticed this, but JT Knives noticed that the Ruike that's on there is upside down, which is quite strange, but really it's not something that's going to bother me. But this really does hold it in your pants definitely. Lovely. I love the look of it when it's in my jeans. Now, if I had a pair of different colour slacks on, maybe it would stand out a bit, but that's not going to bother me. This is a work knife. I'm going to have this in my jeans. This is not something, it's not a gentleman's folder as such. So that's that. The centering, let me just show you the centering of it. The centering is perfect. And I can't tell you how many times, my wife probably could, how many times I sat and flicked this knife, and this has not moved. The last knife I had to take apart, this one I haven't even wanted to. I put a bit of lube in it when it first came because there was a bit of a squeak, but that went straight away as soon as I put the lube on it. It just, I don't know. It is such a beautiful knife to carry, even in the pocket. The way it's set, it goes into your pocket. You don't feel this pocket pecker, as your man calls it. You don't feel it at all when you put your hands in because it's nicely thin at the top here and round it so that your hand just slides in past it in the pocket. Not a problem. Getting it out of the pocket now, this is where this comes. I tend to just grab it like that and pull that up and pull it out of my pocket because that does really grip. The little point that's inside that really does grip in your jeans, and it'll probably tear them up, to be honest with you, but I couldn't care. It's that good a knife, I couldn't care. They're only jeans, and I only wear cheap ones anyway. The sharpness, sorry, I'm saying it didn't sharpen. It actually came, and Tony must have had this out and sort of used it a bit. So it was a bit dull when I got it, and I did sharpen it on the first day, a quick sharpen, and it was a quick sharpen. The steel sharpens very, very quickly. So here is this is the part of the knife that I show you. I'll maybe show you some size comparison first. This is my Ganzo, is this a 729? Yeah, it's the 729. Just for comparison size, they're much the same size. And this is the Land 910 Plus, which is a bit smaller. But I brought these two out for a reason, and the reason is, I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to set them over here for a moment. So it's the same size as that Ganzo 729, which is the Para 2 copy. I want to show you this, and I'm going to actually move this up a wee bit so that I can do it justice. I want to show you this knife opening, right? I was looking for words to describe it. And this is what I come up with, and I've never come up with a saying like this on a knife video. It jumps out like an aggressive viper snake, right? It just comes out. It's ball bearings, and it is the smoothest knife. I hear people talking about these very expensive knives. Look at that. It just sits back in. Really expensive knives and they show me them and I look at them and I think, oh my goodness, how lovely the way that glides. Isn't that beautiful? I don't believe there's many knives out there that could glide any better because surely there comes a point where that's it. This just shoots out. The tension, you break it easily and it'll just literally drop down on itself. The detent is not that strong, to be honest. The detent kicks in about there. Not very strong, and it's quite, because it's a 5-inch knife, it's a heavy big bit of blade in there, it's 3.5 inches. You can drop it and it will come out. There's no point in me showing you, it will do it, and it'll do it quite easily, to be honest, but it'll not come out in your pocket because the detent's strong enough to hold it there. But you can actually push button, you can, what do you call the flicking it back one? Whatever that is. Yeah, light switch it. You can light switch it. You can tell I'd never really had flipper knives up until a couple of weeks ago, so you can light switch it and it comes out like a rocket. It really does just pop out there and slip back in. You can also go as slow as you like, and look at that. I mean, I just pushed that gently and it just slid out. So if somebody was scared, that's the nice way to do it. But again, with all knives, and I keep saying this for people, if you're in a people, oh come on, give me a view there, camera, there we go. Give me a view. Do that and just pull it out if you're in a place where people are scary, because that is a big knife. Do you know, that is a spear point big knife. I hate the fingerprint. It's a real fingerprint magnet. I don't mind them when I'm not on camera. I just don't like seeing my knives dirty on camera. During the day I wouldn't clean it till I come home. But the action in that there is just amazing. Amazing. the best in my collection by far. And I wanted to show these other two knives because these are the other two knives in my collection. I'll just put that out there, that do swing pretty freely. This Land 910, I don't know if anybody has them. I know it's a copy of something, but I mean that it pops down really easily. It shoots out, pops down, and it just closes, but just nothing like that. I thought this was the smoothest blade, and I thought you couldn't get any. This the Ganzo, like all Ganzos, once you wear them in, it just flicks out. Now it doesn't just drop like a normal Ganzo with the back lock up here. This is a different lock, but this is probably one of my smoothest knives. But again, compared to this Ruike, not even close. Not even close. Now, what else have I got to say about this knife? I think just aesthetically, it is pretty. Really, really pretty. To say that I'm over the moon about it is an understatement. I think you can hear in my voice that I got excited from the day I seen it and to now. I've carried it for a week. I've used it for a week. Um, yes, there is I mean, you can go through. I hear people doing reviews and they can find something wrong with a knife. And we can all find something wrong with a knife because they are just a bit of machinery and everybody's likes and dislikes are different. But to be honest with you, I couldn't find anything wrong with this knife that would ever stop me getting another one if I, heaven forbid, broke this or done whatever it was. It's made in China. I think they're sold through Canada, but they're actually made in China. It takes a really good edge very easily. Yes, it dulls a bit quicker, but sure, that's all right. I'm doing videos at the minute on sharpening, and I'm going to be doing quite a lot on quick sharpening, how to do it. I mean, I have used this knife. I've scratched the blade. It's scratched all up here where I have been using, and that's what a knife to me is for. It is a tool. It really is, and this is a good tool, a really good tool. I love it. It looks good. The action is better than anything I've ever seen. At, well, I'm going to tell you the price in a minute, and if you haven't heard the price, you will be shocked. The price for this was, or is in America, about $40. $40. That's, sort of three times the price of my normal knives that I buy. So to me, this is a higher end knife. To you, this is still, $40 is a budget blade. If I save $5 a week for 2 months, I can have this knife. So I don't have to be a rich person. I don't have to be, anybody can get this knife. If I save the pocket money the wife gives me, $5 a week, I'll get it in 2 months if I had to buy it. And let me tell you, if that's what you get as pocket money, $5 a week, you save it for 2 months and you buy that knife, and you will not be sorry. You will not be sorry at all. If you go to the reviews of the more established channels, the boys who know more about knives and who have high end knives, and you listen to what they say about this knife, job done. Job done. My job's been easy because I know that if anybody's interested now, they will go and have a look at the other channels. And do you see what they say about this knife? I'm just going to go around it once more and let you see it. Again, I love the pocket clip because I wear jeans and it's blue and silver. Um, it is just beautiful. Even the wee swedge up here. For $40, the work that has gone into this knife is amazing. The blade steel for this knife is amazing on $40. It sharpens easily. The tang, everything about this knife is quality. The only thing that's not is the price that you're paying for that quality. It doesn't seem fair. It just doesn't seem fair that somebody can make that for $40. So, um, that's my review of the Fang, the Ruike p105-q. A wonderful knife, a wonderful gift. I can't thank Tony enough. You're going to see this knife an awful lot because I'm going to compare every other knife to this as far as smoothness goes. It will get compared to this, without a doubt, because I just don't know how you can get smoother than that. Really don't. So I know I've gone on, I've gushed and I've gushed, but it is just if you've got $40 or if you only get $5 pocket money like me, put it away, buy this knife. And if you've got Chris Reeve knives, I don't care what you've got, buy that knife because that's a great work knife. That's a great knife for around the house that you're not going to care what you do with it. And it's not that I don't care what I do with it, but I mean, to me, this is just a great tool. It's bigger than I would normally carry out. Just going down the street to my wife, I'll not carry that. It's too big. Um, One over here, we have to have a non-locking knife. We're not allowed a flick knife. I do slightly bend the rules, as you know, a wee bit, but that is just an 8.5 inch knife is too big to carry about. Not because of the rules in my country, but because if I'm going out with the wife, I don't want to be carrying something that big. I'd rather have just a wee small traditional knife or something. So I think I've waffled on. Thank you very much for watching. It's wee Paddy. I'm away now to have a cup of tea and relax. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.